obviously a lot of ups and downs, but I would say one of my biggest downs is what I want to talk about that kind of happened past couple years. So 2023 is, I would say, it was probably up till that point the best year of my wrestling career. At that point, I had won the U.S. Open for the first time, and then made the U.S. national team for the first time, and was kind of just got sponsored, was getting a lot more opportunities, and we were coming up on the Olympic year, so I was preparing to go to qualify for the Olympic trials, and it was just a really good year. So I was kind of feeling really good about my wrestling career, really good about myself, and then I just randomly in a practice tore my ACL, my MCL, and my meniscus, and so then got surgery on that pretty much right away, and the surgery was supposed to just be my ACL. They kind of found the MCL in there, and with the MCL complication, I ended up having to get another procedure 4 months later because I couldn't bend my knee past 90 degrees for 4 months. It was just like excruciating pain, terrible rehab. I was going 5 days a week, and I know I probably look really tough, but I was crying basically every day, and it was just like really tough. And after that 4 months, and where I got that second procedure, then I started to get my range of motion back. Then I started to be able to strength train again, but I had lost my quad completely, and I just couldn't do anything. Like I couldn't walk for a long time. I was on crutches for 10 weeks. Couldn't bend my knee. Couldn't walk. Couldn't do squats, let alone wrestle. So it's kind of like from the best point of my career right to, oh my gosh, I need someone to help me with every single thing I do. I can't drive. I can't walk. I can't run. And it was really, really humbling because I would say all of my hobbies and things I enjoy are like hiking, wrestling, lifting, running, like just very active person. And so with all of that taken away, it was kind of like very, very humbling, and it just left me kind of with myself, with my thoughts, and with my faith. And that recovery lasted from, surgery was in November of 2023, and I was cleared in January of this year. So it was like a 14-month recovery. So over a year of not wrestling at all, not drilling, definitely not competing. And it was really, really long. And so through that time, I think that I tried so many different tactics of like, all right, today I'm gonna be really, really tough, and I'm gonna get that range of motion, or today I'm gonna really push through. But in the end, it was just that I had to be really, really patient and rely on God to pull me through, because my strength was not enough for that recovery. Like I said, I was crying like every day. I was actually like in the car one time and listened to this song. It's called like Voice of Truth. But it was just like a really good reminder that no matter how much I try to like hype myself up, rely on myself, rely on my own strength, it's never gonna be enough, unfortunately. And the cool part is we have somebody else that we can rely on. And I was able to, you know, my faith has always been in Christ, but it was just a really good, it brought me back to that even deeper, where I literally had no strength in and of myself. Like I couldn't do anything physically. And so it brought me closer to God, and then it started to just make me so grateful for everything. Like everything I could do. If I could walk again, that was dope. Like if I could do a mini quarter squat, that was really, really fun. And then it made me like, why wasn't I this grateful for wrestling before my injury? Like I was just kind of taking it for granted a little bit. And so I started to really just be like, all right, anything that I can do, like what's the next best thing that I can do, the next right thing that I can do, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put my effort into that. And I think that goes way outside of just a knee recovery from a surgery, but like your wrestling journeys, it's like maybe you aren't where you want to be yet, or maybe you just had a loss, or maybe there's somebody that you're like, they're way more talented than me. It's not fair, I'm never gonna be like them, or they started way before I did. It's like, you can't control those things. I couldn't control that. It's unfair. I was at the peak of my career and I tore everything and I was out for 14 months. Sometimes things aren't fair, and that's not wrong. That's just how things go. And all you can do is the next right thing. So that's what I did for 14 months, and then I was cleared in January. Started my training again, and then I was able to compete again in the US Open this year. And I didn't win it this time, I took third, but it was still, I was just so focused on being grateful for the sport now, and that's like my biggest takeaway from the entire thing. And I wouldn't ask to have not had the surgery. Like I'm very thankful that it happened, because I appreciate the sport so much more now. And I'm also just so proud of myself for every little thing I do in the sport now. And I would just encourage you guys to have that. You don't need to tear your knee and go through a whole recovery to have that. But like sometimes we can get so caught up in what we haven't done yet and like how good we're not yet that we forget to be super proud and like in the moment about things we've done. Like that is what can make a long career in the sport of wrestling, especially because it's such a hard sport, is like you have to be proud of yourself. Like each and every day, each and every tournament. You can be disappointed and proud at the same time. Like those two things can coincide. You can have room in your heart for both of those things. And so I would just encourage you to like reflect on that and think about when the last time you were proud of yourself was and how often you're disappointed in yourself. Like, do you have room in your heart for both of those things? And then the last thing I'll just leave it with is, who knows Helen Maroulis? Anybody heard of her? Yeah, I'm not gonna steal the credit for this quote because it's her, but I was at a camp recently once I did return, and she was speaking about how she won her Olympic gold medal. She was the first woman from the United States to win Olympic gold. And after winning Olympic gold, she had like a huge crash where it was like, that was supposed to satisfy me and make me happy. And I feel like the worst that I've felt in a long time. And she just kind of realized, she's like, it's never about like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow in wrestling. Like there is no pot of gold. She won the Olympic gold and still didn't feel satisfied. And that's what brought her back to her faith. But she's like, there is no pot of gold, wrestling is the rainbow. So it's like just enjoying the process of wrestling and being proud of yourself for the small accomplishments and the small wins and doing the next right thing. Like that's what's gonna provide a long career where you don't define yourself based on wins, losses, injuries, you know, how good you are, how good you're not. And so I'm really thankful for that 14-month recovery and still like the hard things that it's kind of providing to my wrestling, because it's just challenges that I wouldn't have chose for myself. And so God placed them in my life to kind of deepen me in my faith and give me a new found love and gratitude for wrestling and ways to be proud of myself. So I would just encourage you guys to think on that for yourselves and before or without having to ever get injured, just think about how often you're proud of yourself, because I think it's really important to do that in this sport. So thanks.